If you want to learn how to do a pull-up and your goal is doing this, or even this, then you, my friend, are either underestimating yourself or overestimating the difficulty it takes to advance when it comes to pull-up. Your pull-up goal, if you are a total calisthenics beginner, should actually be this. Now, some of you might think this is absolutely crazy. How am I gonna do that if I can't even do a classic pull-up? And I get it. I consider the pull-up the king of all calisthenics exercises, and you should be respectful when you're approaching the king. However, if you are doing everything right, then you should be reaching your very first clean pull-up in a month or two, and not having a clear and concise goal of what comes after leads to stagnation. So today I am going to show you the progression you can follow step by step to reach this level of pull-up mastery. So you have your complete road map ahead of you and you don't need to think about anything else. If you're ready, let's get right into it. This brings us to level number 0, the wall pull. Step with both feet as closely as we can to a door frame, for instance, where we can hold on just like so. And all we need to do is basically pull our chest towards that door frame or whatever you're holding on to, and then reversing. You want to lengthen your shoulders around your back and have the longest possible range of motion, activating those muscles and reversing once more. The longer your range of motion becomes and the more you can relax into this extended position, the more you will benefit from this exercise. And we want to flare our lats and really flex those back muscles before we fully release once more. And this moves us to level 0.5, which is a reverse row. Now, since most people do not have access to TRX bands, we can just do a reverse barbell row, which is very easy to replicate. And all you need for that is basically a bar. Now, once you are strong enough to go through a lot of repetitions, and to make this harder, all you need to do is lower the bar and go more parallel with your upper body towards the ground, and then you can pump out those repetitions like it's absolutely nothing. And for the final exercise before we move on to the real pull-up bar, we're gonna sit down right below a barbell once more, and we wanna actually pull that bar behind our head. We're using our legs only to compensate for the little bit of lacking strength that we have. So try to use as much upper body strength as you can and as little lower body strength as required. We want to go all the way up, touch our traps and hold for half a second. If you're strong enough, raise those feet for a second or two, put them back and reverse the entire movement. This will prime you perfectly for what is about to come. Since you have been building immense positive strength when pulling up, now we want to work on our negative strength only. We're gonna jump up, start our position from here, and then we want to slow down the reversal as much as we can. You can even do static holds in the middle, for instance, or here, or here, or here. You can add them at whatever level you feel like, and once you're at the lowest point once more, we're gonna jump up, start at the top level, and move slowly and slowly and slowly all the way down, adding static holds in between. And now you're basically ready to start with your first pull-up. And contrary to popular belief, your first pull-up variation is not going to be a biceps dominant underhand grip, but an exercise that is way more important for calisthenics in general, one that you have to master before you even think about getting into pull-ups, and that is the scapular pull-up. Learning how to activate your entire shoulder and scapular musculature, going into scapular depression and adduction, as well as scapular elevation and abduction, pulling them apart and up and pulling them together and down. Only once you have mastered this movement can you move on to the next variation. Asymmetrical scapular pull-ups. We're not even getting close to doing biceps pull-ups yet before you can't master these two tiny movement patterns, so you have all the necessary control to go into advanced variations before you mess up your entire mind-muscle connection through false or wrongly executed pull-ups. And now, you're ready. You've done all your wall pulls, you're strong enough to do reverse barbell rows like it's absolutely nothing. You have perfected the scapular pull-up, both the symmetrical as well as the unilateral one. Now you may approach the bar with respect, get into an underhand grip, close your hands as much as you can, hang in there into a complete dead hang or passive hang. Keep your legs extended, and now we want to pull all the way up, chin above the bar, if possible even shoulders towards your hands, and then reverse the movement into a complete dead hang before you can even think about going into the next repetition. If you are strong enough to do 4 to 5 repetitions of this, you are very likely strong enough to do your first overhand grip latissimus dominant pull-up. Of course, we start in a dead hang. Of course, we bring our chin above the bar. And of course, we get into a dead hang before we move into the next repetition. Being able to do these two already makes you stronger than probably 90% of people, because doing a strict pull-up is something that most people cannot do. But you can, because you are strong and you are impressive, and don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Now you're thinking biceps and latissimus dominant pull-ups are all good and well, but that doesn't translate into more advanced push-up variations like archers or typewriters. And you might be right. But what we're gonna do for that, use the tiniest bit of assistance in form of a resistance band. Not because we are too weak, but because we want to perfect the form before we go for strength endurance, or pumping up repetitions like it's nothing. Get in there with both knees, and now our very first advanced pull-up variation will be the lateral or the archer pull-up. One arm stays completely extended, and we want to bring that shoulder above the bar or touching the bar before we turn back to the middle, fix our extended arm on the other side, and pull up laterally once more. We have some internal shoulder rotation and extension, and we are switching sides through every repetition. And you're gonna notice the more we move up, the less assistance we get from the resistance band, meaning at the very end of our range of motion, the exercise becomes the hardest, and at the lowest point, it's going to be the easiest. So combining the assisted ones with the pull-ups you have already learned without assistance will get you to these pull-ups without assistance. And now, my pull-up masters, you have only 2 variations left to get to where we started out. With the first one being the typewriter pull-up, going up to the middle and then extending one arm fully, moving laterally at the very top of the movement, and reversing to the middle all the way down before you go into the next repetition. Up, extend, extend, and reverse. We do this with the resistance band until we master the complexity of the form, and then we do it without. And now last but definitely not least, we will put every single variation we learned before together. The scapular pull-ups, the archer pull-ups, the typewriter pull-ups into one single movement. Those circular pull-ups first, assisted, once more, go through the movement, learn the complexity, get that mind-muscle connection primed for the full movement, because you've already built the required strength. All you need to do is connect it in your brain. And now, my friends, it is finally time to do your first circular pull-up without any sort of assistance. This. And there you go. I know this can be a little bit scary, but trust me on this one, it looks a little bit harder than it actually is, especially if you go through all of these steps. And a good rule of thumb is if you can do 5 to 10 clean repetitions of one of these exercises, it is time to move to the next one and combine it with the ones before. So you start with the wall pull, you move to the reverse row, you put them together, you move up to the next exercise, you do all 3. You move up to the 4th exercise, you do all 4. And before you know it, you're gonna be pulling up like you've been doing it your entire life. But with that said, once again, sadly, that's all the time I've left for you today. I have another class to teach in like 10 minutes. However, if you like the video and subscribe, and please check out other videos on this channel, because we literally have new ones every single day. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Captain Cairo, peace out.